Today is 41 months since anybody has seen or heard from Austin Scotland. Nobody he's ever known in his entire life has seen or heard from him. Nobody he loves is allowed to speak to him because Alice doesn't want him to know the truth about the fact that she's keeping him hostage so that she has another victim to abuse. Another hostage in the cult of Alice. And because she lives in one of the wealthiest neighborhoods in Canada, which is West Vancouver, she gets away with it. Because nobody wants to believe that rich people are abusive. And she just buys her way out of the situations that start to look promising as to putting a stop to her abuse, like Vicky Probert, who was a reunification specialist with PACE, I believe. And as soon as she made mention of the fact that she was going to need to move Austin out of Alice's house because she could see Alice was abusing Austin and is a psychotic, manipulative bitch, she was fired. So that's just one example of anybody who is, trying to do what is right and able to see the truth about Alice is just shut down. She was fired from the case, and the next reunification specialist that was put on the case was with a different company that is paid by MCFD, and her name was Lori Sanga, and she told me directly that she was instructed by the social worker, Jennifer Donnelly, to never reunite me with my child. Even though all of the doctor's reports say that my son needs to be home, he's not in a safe place. The ministry doesn't want to admit to their mistakes, and they just keep covering up and pretending that Austin's doing well, as they say with any foster child, that, oh, they're doing well. And they're not. Austin's not capable of doing any of the things that he was capable of doing when he was home with me. He completely regressed, and now 33 and a half years later, if he is doing so well, why is he not allowed to talk to anybody he's ever known? Clearly, they have something to hide. They just pretend to like me, and anybody in Austin's life doesn't exist. And that's what happens when you have abusive assholes in power. Just like Trump pays people off and keeps lying, that's what the ministry does, and that's what Alice does, and that's what Austin is caught in, this web of lies. And it's just like living in a dictatorship or a cult or any kind of abusive, controlling environment. And until he's old enough to understand how to escape, or somebody with power decides to do the right thing and save him, then he's stuck in this life of abuse, and his whole world is going to be fucked up for the rest of his life. Just like mine and just like Tina's. Tina won't admit it, though. She lives in denial, but she's not capable of living away from Alice and fending for herself. She's completely codependent on Alice and has never had a functioning relationship, does not have children of her own. She's completely codependent in that cycle of abuse, and she wants to pretend that there's no abuse happening. Well, I've seen her be beaten many times by both Alice and Frank, and I've also seen her beat them. They all beat each other, and I'm the only one who was trying to stay away from them and wouldn't go after them. I got beaten by all of them, but I didn't purposely go after them the way they all go after each other and would go after me. Like, even Alice says things like she's afraid of Tina. And they're just living in a sick, codependent cycle of abuse, and that's what Austin's caught up in. 41 months of these lies and abuse. And he has no idea of the truth of what's going on because he's not allowed to know the truth. That's why he's not allowed to speak to anybody. Oh, actually, you know, if you try and call Alice's house to speak to Austin, they threaten you that it's harassment, and they're going to call the police on you. When Austin's aunt tried to call him, that's what they said the first time that she called. It's not harassment to call one time. And why is Austin not allowed to talk to his aunt? Why? And in fact, they told her she's not his aunt. You don't get to tell me and Austin who our family is. And they go around telling Austin and the rest of the people in his circle now that they're his grandparents and his aunt. They are not. They are not our family. DNA does not make you family, and sharing a last name does not make you family. In fact, we've always intended to change our last name. Austin's short list was Presley, Paisley, and Chapman. We want nothing to do with Sellers or Alice Sellers, the Wicked Witch of West Vancouver. Hopefully a house lands on her.